That? Yeah, welcome to the building.
Alright, so far all my videos on YouTube have cars in them. So at the beginning of this video there's going to be cars, but really I'm making this video to show the inside of the house that I'm trying to rent out. So this is my 65 F100 Ford pickup, but some of it's missing. But it does have a trailer hitch, and I recently put a camper shell on it, so that's nice. And restored all this mechanism. It was all rusted out sitting in the junkyard, and these prop rods here are spring loaded. That was all rusted solid, so I broke those free with some PB Blaster and WD-40 and got that working. This whole latch mechanism was all falling apart and rusted out, so I cleaned those rods up and put everything back together, riveted the brackets back in there on each side, and now it's functional again. Inside I've got aluminum bed liner, diamond plate, which is nice, and so that it doesn't teeter-totter on its Ford 9-inch rear end and the two wheels there, I welded up a quick prop rod for the back, and I made one for the front that's identical to the one in the back. So I engineered the one in the back first, and I just made one that's identical for the front, and then drilled the holes in it so that I could just stick it. There's 2 bolts that go all the way through, right into holes that I drilled. So I don't have to unbolt it or anything. I just have to kind of lift up on the tongue, which has some weight on it, and then I can just slide this piece out and hook it up to my Bronco to tow it, and then the same on the back there. Those two just go right into holes, so I just need to kind of take weight off of it by lifting up on the rear bumper, and I can pull that out. The interesting thing about this 65-66 Ford F100 design is that when Ford came out with the 66 Bronco, the first year for Ford Bronco, they took the body lines off of the F100 pickup and they put them right on the Bronco. So on a first generation Bronco, you can see this body line going right down the side of the Bronco, and this body line going right down the side of the Bronco. And if it's an uncut Bronco, like the Coach's Bronco in the movie Dazed and Confused, you'll see that rear flare there for the wheel well is uncut, and then the tail lights as well, just like Bronco. Now I've got a Bronco, and it's a 75 Bronco, because from 66 to 77, Ford kept the same body style for Ford Broncos. So for 11 years, 66 to 77, the Bronco remained unchanged. By 1977, it was a really dated body style, but a popular one. And like the early Blazers, the top comes completely off. I've just got a bikini top on it, and you can see the wheel opening there. It's been cut, and fender flare installed for tire clearance that a lot of people do to these Broncos. But if it was uncut, it would look just like that F100 bed. You can see the body line here is the same as the top body line, and there's the body line on the bottom, and the body line goes all the way forward like that. And in the back, you can see it's the same tail light lenses, and you know, this here and here, that's the same as well. So if you look at the back of that and you look at the back of that, it's pretty much the same thing. So if I cut the flares on this camper trailer and I put Bronco style flares in place and bigger tires and matching rims and paint the whole thing blue, it'll match my Bronco. But I've got so many projects that I doubt I'll ever do something like that. Anyway, here's a look at where my cars are right now. Here's my 69 Mustang. It's got a 460 under the hood, board 60 over, so that's 472 cubic inches there. This is my 70 Roadrunner It's 9 different colors, but it's supposed to be yellow with black stripes. It's supposed to look like that someday. That's a 446 pack car, original. 4-speed car. Pistol grip shifter. I guess you can't see anything in there though. Too dark. Here's my Corvette. And then in the other garage, over here I've got my red 67 Sunbeam Alpine. It's got the original 4-cylinder in it. Well, I say original. It's got a 4-cylinder in it, but it's from an older Alpine. It's got a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder in it. It's supposed to have a 1.725. Came stock with 1725cc 4-cylinder, and it's got an older Alpine engine. It's got the 1600cc 1.6 liter. An interesting fact, in 1967 Chrysler bought Roots Group, so Chrysler actually owned the Sunbeam Alpine, and Sunbeam also made the Sunbeam Tiger, which looks a lot like this. Maxwell Smart drove one in Get Smart. It had a Ford V8 in it, so Chrysler was selling a British sports car that came stock with a Ford V8, and that was the Sunbeam Tiger. But this is the Sunbeam Alpine, and that's the 4-cylinder version, not the V8 version. This is my 65 Mustang Fastback. Like the Roadrunner and the Corvette, it's a 4-speed car, 289 4-barrel car. It needs a lot of work. That project's coming up, maybe next. This is my 66 Sunbeam Alpine, and it needs a lot of work. I put a 427 Ford V8 under the hood, and had to cut a lot to make that happen. This is my 63 Ford Thunderbird that I'm in the process of painting. It's originally a red car with a red interior. It's going to be a red car with a black interior when it's done. This is my 75 Ford Bronco. Talked about that. It's got a 351 Windsor under the hood. The T-Bird's got a 390 4-barrel engine. I say that gray Alpine was a 1725cc 4-cylinder, and now it's getting a 427 Ford Big Block. The 65 Mustang Fastback there is a 289 4-barrel car, A-code. This had a 302 and an automatic in it originally. Now it's got a 351 Windsor and a new process 435 4-speed. And finally, this is my 70 Mach 1 that I've had since 1989. I bought it when I was 19, and it's got a 351 Cleveland 4-barrel under the hood. It's an M-code 70 Mach 1 with the closed chamber 11:1 compression 351 Cleveland. And it needs some work too. So one of them, either the Mach 1 is next after the T-Bird, or the gray Alpine, or the black 65 Mustang. I miss driving the black 65 Mustang the most, so I might get that on that one next. And I'd like to drive the 70 Roadrunner, but it needs full rear quarters, and that's a lot of work, so it might be a while before I get to that. Anyway, that's the car portion of the video, so turn it off now, because now I'm just going to go into the house, and that won't be nearly as fun as old cars. Alright. Florida room. Oh. Carport. Half bathroom. And utility room, washer and dryer, electric hookup for the dryer, so the gas dryer will not work. Let's see. Circuit breakers. Whole house house vacuum. I've never used it. It's a neat idea. There's ports all over the house. You turn on this vacuum cleaner and then you use the ports all over the house, but I've never used it. Brand new water heater. Just had that installed. And sink. And sink. And kitchen. And ovens. You can't see anything inside the ovens. And stovetop. And fan, light. And sink. And dishwasher. And dining room. Front door. Yard. There's a cardinal there in the center of the frame. I don't know if you can see it. But I like those. I wish we had more of them. There it goes. Pretty quiet neighborhood when I'm not talking. And porch swing. And hallway. And stairs. And living room. Fireplace, but you have to have an external propane tank to run the fireplace because it's a fake fireplace, James Bond style, push a button, you know, propane, gas. So there's no external source of fuel for it. There's no propane tank hooked up to this house, and it would be really costly to put one in. So the fireplace is just to look at, I guess. It's useless. And then this was built when the house was built in 1994, before TVs were as big as they are and as wide as they are today. They were a different shape back in 1994. They were more of a square shape and not a rectangular shape. So you have to be creative with where you put your TV. Mount it to the wall or something like that, because there's probably not room in there for your TV. And downstairs thermostat. And when I lived here, my kids called this the Harry Potter closet, because in, I think, the first Harry Potter movie, Harry Potter's living in the tiny little closet under the stairs. So that's what that is. Good storm shelter, you know, centrally located in the house, no windows. And another closet. Can't really see inside there, but that's just a little closet there. And master bedroom, which is big. Big closet. Another big closet. And bathroom for the master bedroom. Here's another sink. And another sink. And a bathtub. And shower. And that's the downstairs. Tall ceilings. I'm just about 6 foot tall, and that's how high I can reach. So that's hand well over my head. I don't know how tall that ceiling is. 10 feet, maybe 9, I don't know. Anyway, stairs. Little office area, I guess. I don't know. I never used it for anything when I lived here. And some storage. Oh, that bulb's really dull. There's hardly any light in here at all. There's outside again. And the last two that lived here, this was the boys' bedroom. When I lived here, my two kids, boy and girl twins, they were so young that they were just little. There's another cardinal went flew by. Usually we don't see that many of them here. So my kids were so little, they stayed in a crib, basically, downstairs in the master bedroom with us. And nobody lived up here, so it was a really big house for me and my wife and two kids, all living downstairs, nobody living upstairs. But the last people that rented this place, they had a big family, and this was the boys' room. And I think in here it says, Ben rocks so much. So Ben was a good boy. And he really was. I'm not just saying that to be facetious, because he wrote, you know, a little bit of graffiti there. He really was a good kid. But I'm going to have to clean that off. And the walls in here need to be painted. They kind of plastered over a bunch of stuff as they moved out. So, you know, part of the gig, I guess. You know, I need to hire someone to come here and finish the job up and and paint these walls. And let's see, so we already looked in here. It's a big closet, walk-in style, and not a tiny bedroom, you know, good size. Not like the master bedroom, but good size. And then the bathroom, and a sink, and a shower. Now my hand's all wet. And the girls were in this room. When the last people lived here, this was the girls' room. They had a Brady Bunch thing going on with boys in one room and girls in the other room. And there's outside again. And I think this room might be a little bit smaller than the other one. Yeah, it definitely is. I never really paid much attention to it. A little bit smaller. So this is the smallest room. And again, full bath, sink, and a shower. And a bathtub. That's not a big bathtub. I think that's the whole house. Now I got to figure out how to turn off all the lights that I have turned on. Oh, and the upstairs thermostat is right here. And it's really important not to run the either thermostat without the other one. You know, if you're going to set one at 82, like this one is set at 82, set them both at 82, because this house is too big for just one HVAC system. This house has an HVAC system for upstairs, an HVAC system for downstairs, and one system alone can't do the job. It'll strain the system and increase your energy bill. So you have to run both HVAC systems. So if you set one thermostat, set the other. That just about does it. That's the whole house. That's what it looks like. It's a nice house. I liked living here, but it was too big for me. When I bought this place, I bought it because it had a lot of garage space. So I bought the big house because it came with big garages. And I wanted the big garages. So I still have the big garages, but I ran out the big house, and now I live in a little house. I have a little house and big garages. And that suits me just fine. Now, how do I turn that one off? Like that? Alright. Good.